Now, under their partnership, the US and Australian leaders announced a trilateral project between the US, Australia and Japan to produce next-generation drones. My next guest is Stephen Nagy, Japan Institute of International Affairs visiting fellow, who explains why drones are being targeted by these allies to counter China. I spoke to him earlier.
Countries like Japan and the United States and Australia have watched what's happened in Ukraine and watched how the Ukrainians have deployed drones quite effectively to deal with the Russian aggression in the region, and understood that this is the next area of warfare that they're going to need to deal with. Of course, we've seen drones also be used in Israel with the recent Hamas attack, and there is real concern that China would use these kind of tactics across the Taiwan Strait to at least confuse the Taiwanese defense systems or create the kind of chaos that would make it much more difficult to defend Taiwan. So they see this as a real critical tool moving forward to try and create more deterrence. But also perhaps use these collaborative drone systems in offensive capabilities to deal with some of the quantitative advantages that have emerged as China has spent 10% year on year in terms of increases in military budgets since 2000.
And so they're sort of unmanned, they're cheaper, you know, they're incredibly fast and flexible. What stake does each party hold in this trilateral cooperation? What do they bring to the partnership?
Well, I think the stakes are quite interesting. There's the technology side, so the countries that are pushing the envelope in terms of technological development, in terms of drones, will eventually be able to monetize this. So I think this is a clear and important approach. So the United States wants to be out there. Japan, with its manufacturing and technological capabilities, is there, and it wants to be part of these advantages. And of course Australia wants to be part of this because they see economic advantage. But they also see this as a huge ability to a huge potential to deal with, I think, again, that quantitative advantage that China has developed over the past 20 years in terms of investing very narrowly in its naval and other capabilities that are meant to be for Taiwan in the case of some kind of forced reunification. So they see that this is particularly important to, again, build the capabilities to create the deterrence they need. And I think for the United States, Australia, that are far from the region, this is an economical way to enhance the deterrence. From Japan's point of view, of course, they're in the front line of Taiwan's security challenges, and we should be clear about that. They see this as a very important point or area to invest in for Taiwan's security and peace and stability across the Taiwan Straits, but of course for Japan in terms of pushing back against Chinese aggression.
That was Asian expert Stephen Nagy speaking to me earlier.